I think just the basic college skills or even the basic like how to adult is another big one there.
And I think being in this helping field, there's often this kind of drive to start fixing. Like, oh, you come to the right place. I'm going to help you get back on the right track. But if you skip the listening part, it's going to be really hard
Do
for
you need me to empathize and connect? Do you need me to be the angry friend venting with you? Do you need me to help you find a solution? Or do you need me to just listen? It was so helpful to have that toggle switch that I could ask for because I want you to be angry with me right now. The other one is that I can be vulnerable and I don't know everything and that I'm willing to adjust. And if I do something that maybe doesn't work or offer some advice that you don't want to hear, that I'm really setting the stage to be flexible with you. When someone says that you didn't really understand what I was saying, if they care enough about the relationship, clarify where you missed it. So don't see corrections from clients or frustrations as a lack of faith in your helper skill.
I'm a serial interrupter. And so that's been a skill that I've really had to work on with students. Sometimes it can help if they're struggling to express what they're saying and I think that I know where they're going. Sometimes it helps to throw something in and they feel I understand.
It's going to be the rare student who you're trying to help who's going to go out of their way and be like, yeah, I really wish you would shut up about that kind of stuff and just focused on what you needed to do. They don't want to be rude. Soliciting feedback and being open to the idea of trying something new or more effective.
A lot of times I will tell students, I am not here to make a decision for you, but my goal is to do all I can to ensure that you have as much information as possible to confidently make an informed decision. Sometimes you just need that disruption of thought in order to get through the moment of crisis. It doesn't mean the crisis is so minimal that you just need a boo ah startle and you're moving on to the next thing, but having a plan before you get into it makes it a lot easier to divert your attention when you are in that heightened stress or when you are feeling a little bit stuck in darker spaces. I would leave a test, and if I wasn't confident about it, I thought, okay, for sure, I failed that test. I'm going to fail that class. I'm going to get kicked out of my program, and then I'm going to be homeless. And it just would spiral.
What you don't need now is a lecture on what you should have done. You need someone to connect with the pain.
I've had a lot of students saying, and by a lot, like probably four in the last semester, but for something new, that was a lot. Students that are saying that they've used AI. Instead of journaling, they will use AI to get a response, which from a clinical standpoint has some definite holes. But if it's getting them support in that moment, I'm all for it.
Allison knows my story of how I survived COVID through Animal Crossing. I like collecting the apples and putting them in a pile and decorating my island. So even if it's something like video games or something that might not be the most productive task, spending time in those spaces, having something that you can do. If you're frustrated at meetings, if you get angry, having a little fidget spinner or something that you can play with, like thinking about how do you do some self-soothing techniques in that space can be real important. Don't let perfection be the enemy of the good.
I had a student who would get really enraged and had this justice focused lens, but would get pretty hostile and even threatening in emails. He was a veteran, so people would automatically worry about other things. He said, this is how I communicate. Behaviors are often how people have adapted to get their needs met. It's not always an indicator of their characteristic or who they are.
We really set a lot of our students up and patients, people who have mental illness concerns for failure, giving them large sums of money all at once and telling them not to spend it on rent or video games, but this needs to last for the semester.
I've heard more than once in the last week, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection.
And it's one of the reasons I love the pottery group that I'm in because they get me in some ways because I'm over there messing around and I need to touch the fire to know that it's hot.